Oop, I'm finally ready to leave my husband, but he can't understand why. I'm not the oop. This was posted by you, Hopeful Courage 32 in our True Off My Chest. Trigger warnings. Infidelity. Revenge porn. Less than. Original. The 26th of November 22. I'm finally ready to leave my husband, but he can't understand why. My story is probably the opposite of anyone here. But for me it made sense, even though it doesn't for my husband and the rest of the family. I needed to write somewhere to see if there is anybody out there who understands me, or am I as anyone around me believes going mental? I found this from a YouTuber. My husband cheated on me 5 years ago on a work trip. His colleague sent me the sex tape she made. Apparently they slept together. She used the tape to get him to start a relationship with her, and when he refused, she exposed him to me. I was in utter shock. This just couldn't happen to us? How could he do this to me when he said he loved me so much? I couldn't take the images out of my head. I was broken and paralyzed, I think, because while the normal reaction should have been yell and shout and leave him, I just went into a depression and was too weak to take actions. He asked for marriage counseling, and for 2 years I lived in this depressed trance, and I honestly don't remember thinking of anything but my husband and his affair. Seeing the images she sent me whenever I closed my eyes. After a few months, and with the therapist's recommendation, he tried to get intimate with me, but it just triggered my PTSD. I was so embarrassed to give him my body when it wasn't enough for him. I felt so disgusting and ugly, and him touching me was so shameful. Like, why would he want something that wasn't enough? Something so disgusting. He tried to make me believe that I was beautiful and more than enough, and that it was him, not me. And it was never about me not being enough, but for me it was all lies and a bunch of gibberish. I knew for a fact I was disgusting, and I had proof. My husband's cheating. After 2 years, things were getting brighter. The nightmares and images started fading, and individual and couples therapy did miracles. I started to love myself again, and sometimes it went days without thinking of my husband's affair. We started having sex again after 3 years, and while the image of him with her was always there, I thought that I just had to live with it. Here is where I might be weird. Now, 5 years later, I'm fully happy. Feel that I have gained back the control over my life, and I put that whole ordeal behind me. At the same time now, I feel that my marriage is over. My husband is in total disarray. Why now, when we are finally happy again? When I'm back to be my old self and finally is over what he did? I even forgave him. I did. But I don't understand his confusion. For me now, I'm happy and strong again. I feel I want more. From myself, my life, and from the man I share my life with. I couldn't leave when I was too weak to think properly and without bias. I couldn't leave when I didn't have a free will. Consumed by grief. Why can't he see that it was a healthy way of thinking, not making decisions while hurting? Am I wrong? I'm 35 now. I want to start a family. I want to start this family with someone who would never have done this to me. Doesn't this make sense? Update. The 1st of December 22. I'm finally ready to leave my husband, but he can't understand why. Update. Hi everyone. I will make my update short, but I felt that I have to since you asked for an update. Thank you so much for the support. NGL, these past couple of days have been very emotional for me. I don't know, but just putting my story out there and receiving all the support did a number on me. I showed my husband this post in the comments, and I showed him the many drafts I made that were longer with more details about what I went through that I didn't feel were necessary to include. He cried the whole time he was reading, especially the comments from the men and women who went through the same experience. He said he always knew how wrong he did me, and that never a day went by without him thinking about how he hurt me for nothing. Now, when he read how long it really took me to heal 5 years of my life because of 1 hour of pointless sex. He apologized and said that couldn't give me back what he took, but that he won't stand in the way of my happiness. He promised me an amicable divorce. He said he will always love. He just requested to celebrate one last Christmas together. He is moving out after. Reminder, I'm not the oop. Her delay totally makes sense to me. She went into shock, which makes it hard to think or act. Once she got her mental health together again, she was ready to make a change and start over. And good for her. This comment is so spot on. For better or worse only applies if your partner isn't the worse. Healing isn't linear. It doesn't follow a straight path. And it is very unpredictable. Sometimes healing makes you realize that getting back to where you were before you were hurt isn't healthy or right for you. Oop didn't forgive her husband. She just didn't fight. She retreated inwards and used that time in order to heal. The person that came out seems much more stable and confident. I am glad she was able to heal herself. One thing that never ceases to amaze me with cheating partners is how they do not understand how hurtful their actions are. I have been cheated on. I have friends who have been cheated on, and it seems every time the partner says that there is no coming back, the cheater is always surprised Pikachu face. I just don't get it. He slept with a coworker, the coworker filmed it, and then sent it to his wife? WTF? He promised me an amicable divorce. He also promised to be faithful. Get an attorney. I'm actually surprised he understood in the end and let her go. She's lucky. Edit. Well, he says he'll leave after Christmas. Hope it's a drama-free separation FR. This is why I don't understand people who cheat on somebody they actually love. I understand it when people cheat on a spouse they're sick of. Or a spouse who is emotionally unavailable. That makes sense even though I think it's wrong. But cheating on someone you love, knowing that it would devastate them if they found out? Awful. Just awful behavior. Baffling behavior. Good for her. I hope she has a happy and fulfilling life without that guy. I love that she said she wants to start a family with someone who would never do this to her. She's right, and her ex-husband is gonna regret this for a very long time. Maybe even forever, and I love that for him. There is nothing wrong with deciding, after years of trying, that despite your best efforts and the best efforts of your partner, the damage of betrayal is just too big to overcome. 5 years sounds like a long time, but it sounds like that's how long Oop needed to get strong enough to see the situation and her future clearly. I truly hope Oop finds happiness once this is all behind her. Though I do hope he's not up to something with this whole last Christmas together thing. Yeah, so is anyone super sketched out by the one more Christmas thing, or has Reddit just traumatized me? Edit. You know what? Don't answer that question. I hope he leaves her alone sooner rather than later. That's all. This is one of the saddest things I've read on Reddit. It describes perfectly just how much cheating destroys someone. After reading that update, I pray to all that is holy that Oop doesn't let him have sex with her again. Or if she does, she has a good birth control. This was a hard read for me. I don't want it to be 5 years for me to get to this point. Some other people don't seem to get it and relate with the husband, thinking she led him on. But I get it. You can still love someone and know that it's over. How do you spend the rest of your life with someone who doesn't even understand the depth of what they did to you? I want to start this family with someone who would never have done this to me. This right here is a whole ass mood. That one last Christmas together is gonna be excruciatingly uncomfortable. Just be done now. God, this hits close to home. My ex cheated on me for years and I knew but never had proof until 4 years or so after it began. I managed to leave him 5 months after finding out, but I was in that dissociative depressed state for years, and only started to heal when I left the job he was also at. We didn't see each other often, but it was still enough for me to push a lot of the trauma down to pretend I was okay. After that I nose-dived a bit, and it took longer to heal. It's 6 years later now and I'm happy and in a loving relationship, and I still get the old paranoia and anxiety for no reason sometimes with my current partner, who's never given me a reason to think they would cheat. Therapy and medication has helped a lot, but my brain still screams warning warning because I can't remember most of 2 years still, because I was so depressed and anxious and just full of despair. I'm happy Op is leaving and doing what's best for her. Sometimes cheaters never fully understand the effects their actions have on their partners. I wish I'd seen this when it was new. My friend's mother left 25 years after the affair. In her 50s she had a mastectomy to prevent her breast cancer from recurring. And it changed her body so much she reflected back to her early 20s when he cheated. She reasoned if he cheated on her when she was as young and beautiful as she could ever be, she couldn't stand the idea of him seeing her wounded body after surgery. So she left him. 5 years doesn't sound that odd to me at all. If anything, he owed her that financial support while she recovered from the betrayal so she wouldn't have to impoverish herself just to get away from him. It makes me uncomfortable he persuaded her to spend one last Christmas together. If he truly felt remorse he'd leave ASAP. I remember when my mom was finally done and my dad told her, "I'll go in January." It's been 8 more years of coexisting together. Hard to blame someone for how they have to process things. May not make sense for everyone around, but it's not for those people. Bummer for no happy ending yet, but at least they are amicable. I hope you find your happiness with a loyal partner. Good luck, Op.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Cast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.